You're about to uncover a powerful truth about attraction that most men will never understand. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to engage with women in a way that leaves them thinking about you non-stop. This isn't about gimmicks or tricks. It's about understanding the psychology behind attraction and using that knowledge to create a deeper connection. When you're talking to a woman, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. What should you say? How do you keep the conversation going? How do you make sure she's interested? The first mistake most men make is overthinking the conversation. They focus too much on the specifics and not enough on their overall approach. But here's a secret. It's not about saying the perfect thing every time. It's about creating a genuine interaction and leaving a lasting impression. Let's shift your mindset first. Here's the first thing you need to realize. She's just another person. I know this might sound obvious, but a lot of men get caught up in putting women on a pedestal because of their beauty or charm. But remember, women are people too. They have their own insecurities, struggles, and desires. They are no different than you, and approaching them with that in mind will immediately make you more comfortable. So, the next time you approach an attractive woman, keep reminding yourself, she's just a person. This mindset shift alone will set you apart from the majority of men who get nervous and try too hard to impress. There's another adjustment you need to make. Think of yourself as the one in the higher position. What do I mean by that? Without being arrogant, you should hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't see yourself as beneath her, but as someone who brings value to the interaction. This doesn't mean being condescending, it means being confident enough to not chase after her validation. When you're engaging with her, her subconscious is constantly scanning you. Women are deeply emotional creatures, and their attraction isn't governed by logic. If you've been following my content, you already know that attraction works on an emotional level. It's not about logical decisions, it's about how she feels in your presence. Her subconscious radar picks up on things you may not even realize, and it helps her decide whether you're the right match for her or not. Think of attraction as something happening beneath the surface, like a hidden force guiding her decisions. She may not even be aware of it, but her subconscious is always evaluating you. The moment you start interacting, her mind begins to assess your value. If she feels drawn to you, her radar will register that as something positive. It's an automatic process that happens without her conscious control. Women often find themselves attracted to men without fully understanding why. That's the power of emotional attraction. From the moment a woman is born, her primary goal is to find the right man. This is hardwired into her biology and doesn't go away just because she's successful or independent. Deep down, her focus remains on finding someone she can build a future with. That's why attraction can sometimes feel illogical. It's not about external factors like looks or status, but rather about something deeper that her subconscious picks up. So, what can you do to make that radar go off? The first thing is to project confidence, but not the kind of confidence that comes across as arrogant or desperate. The kind of confidence that shows you are comfortable with who you are and that you don't need her approval to feel good about yourself. That's what triggers attraction in women. One of the most powerful ways to communicate this confidence is through body language. Forget about the outdated advice that tells you to stand or sit a certain way to look cool. Instead, focus on a few key things that will set you apart. The first tip, don't lean in too much when talking to her. This might seem like a natural thing to do, but leaning in too much signals that you're overly eager. Instead, keep a bit of distance. Leaning back slightly while talking projects an aura of calm confidence, and it tells her that you're not chasing after her attention. You're just having a conversation. This small adjustment makes a big difference. Next, if she says something that doesn't seem particularly interesting, or if she's not fully engaging, don't chase after her words. Instead, walk away lightly with a playful comment like, "I can tell you're probably not ready for someone like me." This might sound bold, but it communicates that you're not desperate for her attention and that you're comfortable walking away. This behavior will spark her curiosity and keep her thinking about you. Third, when you're sitting with her, don't focus on how you should sit. Just sit like you would when you're relaxed with friends. This shows that you're comfortable with yourself, which is an attractive quality. Women want to feel like they're interacting with someone who is at ease. not someone who is constantly worried about how they come across. Remember, it's all about mindset. You need to feel good about yourself before expecting others to feel the same. Confidence doesn't come from pretending to be someone you're not. It comes from accepting yourself and feeling secure in who you are. When you do this, women will pick up on it, even if they aren't consciously aware of it. You'll become the kind of man who exudes self-assurance and leaves a lasting impression. Now, let's dive into the conversation itself. The key to creating real attraction is balance. You want to talk, but you also need to listen. Here's a simple formula. Spend about 50% of the conversation asking her about herself, her thoughts, and her feelings. Spend 30% talking about the external world, things happening around you, and leave the remaining 20% for talking about yourself. Why does this work? Because people are naturally drawn to those who show a genuine interest in them. If you're the one doing all the talking, you come across as seeking validation. But if you focus on her, it puts you in a position of power. You're showing that you're confident enough not to need her validation. It's a subtle shift in dynamic that makes a big difference in how she perceives you. When you ask her about her thoughts, feelings, and experiences, you're opening the door for her to express herself freely. This gives her the chance to share her world with you, and that creates a bond that goes beyond surface-level interactions. People love talking about themselves, and when you show that you're genuinely interested, you're not just building attraction, you're building trust. While you're engaging with her, make sure you're really listening. It's not just about hearing her words, it's about listening for the deeper meanings behind them. Pay attention to her tone, her body language, and the little things she might be revealing about her emotions. This is where the magic happens. When you can pick up on subtle cues that most others miss, it creates a sense of intimacy and connection. Now, don't get caught up in the idea that listening means you have to give advice or solve her problems. Sometimes, all a woman wants is someone to listen without judgment or interruption. She doesn't need you to fix anything. She just wants to feel heard. This is one of the easiest ways to create a strong emotional bond without having to do anything extraordinary. Simply show that you're present in the moment with her and that you care about what she's saying. This approach doesn't just help you connect on a deeper level, but it also makes you stand out from other men. Most guys are focused on impressing her, trying to say the right thing, or getting her to like them. But when you listen actively and engage her in meaningful conversation, it sends a clear message. You're not just trying to get something from her, you're looking to build something real. This is attractive to women because it shows emotional maturity and a willingness to invest in getting to know her on a deeper level. But balance is key. While listening and showing interest in her is crucial, you can't forget about the other aspects of the conversation. You also want to engage in the world around you. This is where the 30% of the conversation comes in. Discussing things happening around you, shared interests, or random observations. This keeps the interaction fun and dynamic. It's important to talk about things that are happening outside the immediate context, whether it's a funny story, something in the news, or something interesting that happened to you recently. This creates a sense of ease and flow in the conversation. And then, of course, there's the 20% where you talk about yourself. Now, don't misunderstand. This isn't about bragging or making the conversation about you. It's about giving her a glimpse into who you are, your passions, your values, and your experiences. But remember, the goal is to make her curious about you, not to overshare or dominate the conversation. Keep it short, sweet, and relevant. Share experiences that show your emotional depth, your interests, and what excites you, but always leave room for her to respond and share her thoughts. It's all about creating an open exchange where both of you feel like you're contributing equally to the interaction. The more you talk, the more she learns about you, but it should always feel like a natural conversation, not an interview. By focusing on these key elements, listening, sharing, and balancing the dynamic, you'll be able to build attraction in a way that feels effortless yet deeply meaningful. But one thing to keep in mind is that women are highly intuitive. She'll be able to tell if you're just playing games or if you're genuinely interested in getting to know her. Authenticity is everything. So, while you're following this formula, make sure you're being true to yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not, because women can sense inauthenticity from a mile away. When you use this balanced approach, you create an environment where she feels comfortable, valued, and curious about you. This makes her think about you even after the conversation ends. She'll begin to look forward to the next time she gets to interact with you, wondering what new things you'll share, what new thoughts you'll provoke, and what deeper connection you can create. This is how attraction deepens, by making the other person feel seen, heard, and valued for who they are, not just as a means to an end. With each conversation, you're building a connection that's far more substantial than any surface level attraction could ever be.